You know, this morning I had to start my day with a pre-workout. I skipped the coffee and went straight into the pre-workout.
Better or worse?
I can't tell. I don't know if that's a problem.
I don't know. Pre-workout makes me too jittery, and the ones that make you itch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how people function. They're like, oh yeah, it makes me lift bigger, and I'm like, no, it just makes me feel like I'm having an allergic reaction.
No, have you ever used the salts, like when you're in the gym and it kind of smells and kind of give you like that
Oh, we
bounce?
both have. Remember back in Valparaiso when we were working with a personal trainer?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, our company was doing some work for their company, and he had us do some tryouts, and I think my brain cells died when that happened.
That was painful, but I think that's kind of like probably the same reaction they're trying to get, so you feel a little jittery, you can push harder. I don't know, man. I'm not a scientist like that. But talk about Valpo. I just came back from Chicago doing the rounds, and you came back from Tennessee. How you been? I haven't talked to you in like in a week and a half.
It's been a busy time. Well, my trip, I feel like your trip was all work. My trip was all play. So I went to Nashville. I got to go see one of my best friends from college get married and saw a bunch of people I hadn't seen in a long time.
Nice.
Celebrated my 1-year anniversary with my partner. So yay! Very exciting.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think my trip definitely was mostly work. I think like solid 90. I got to see a couple friends from in the city. Went to really cool restaurants and some really cool after-hour activities.
Chicago has a cool food scene and like a nightlife scene in general.
This is controversial, but I don't think it's as good as Houston for the price value.
Ooh, I will say, I kind of agree. I've lived in New York City, which has like the most insane food in the world, right? Chicago though is like also really, really good, and you know where to go. You can get all this stuff. But Houston, if you know, like you're on a whole different level.
I just can't comprehend how good the food is for the price point here in Houston. Like for like $20, you can get like a 5-star gourmet meal. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And in Chicago, to get that same experience, I'm spending like $50, $60 a plate versus like $20. You kind of feel me? I'm not trying to be cheap, but at the same time, it's just like if I can get more for less.
Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I learned a lot in that trip. Honestly, I got to I got to see some of our clients. Took some pictures with them. We did the full rounds where you're like, hey, how you doing? How's your business been? Like we talk in Zoom, but it's pretty good to see him in person.
Yeah, you got to see Dr. Kuret. How is he?
He is busy. That man is busy.
He's got a dental practice in Wicker Park, and I don't know. I would love for him to expand, but he's so. I mean, I don't know. His business is like blown up in the past year.
Yeah, no, we've been working with him for a solid 2.5 probably years.
Which is wild. I swear. I'm like, oh yeah, we just started working with you last year, and it's like, no, it's been like
2.5 years.
3 years.
We see his growth, but I think he's at a point in his career where he's content. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has different gauges. Like me and you, we want to conquer the world. I think him is more like I'm serving my community, my Latin community. We're providing affordable care. We're not trying to charge people an arm and a leg for dental care. And he's very happy. They're booked out almost 2 months in advance. They even tell us, I forgot to tell you this. Did I tell you this? I can't remember. I told you this. We're switching the strategy a little bit. We're not doing lead generation anymore. We're going to do like a hybrid team branding lead generation because it's not fair to the new clients that their booking time is like almost 2 months out. You know what I'm saying?
That's when ads work a little bit too well. That's why it's like we have two different parts, right? It's like I need new business. Let's like drive business in the door. And then there's the other clients, which I think he's transitioning to, which is I want better quality. I want to foster community and the excellence, and I want everyone to know about the reputation. But it's really at that point, it's like not about increasing the number of patients.
I would say this. I think it's a combination. Ads definitely played a part into it, but I think him as an individual, as a business owner, he has created a brand that is going to last legacies. Because the way he takes care of his patients, the way he communicates with his patients, the emails he sends out.
The emails, I have never seen higher open rates in my life. When he dropped into that account, I was like, is this real?
Is it like 40-50%?
I think it's 70. Most of his emails are 60 to 70% open rate.
This man.
Which is wild. I don't know. Industry average is like sub 10. If you're doing great, like 12% maybe. And he has a big list, and it's because he's not boring people. It's very personal. He's telling stories. It's motivational. You want to open it, and he's not copying anybody else. He's doing him, and it feels, if once you meet him, you're like, oh yeah, that's Dr. Kuret through and through. Like no intern is writing those emails. Like that is coming straight from him.
But it was cool to see him in his element. We came in. He's doing case notes. He was like, his office is like a little hurricane hit. He has so many things was going on. People coming in and out of the office. I was like, I should let you go. Like, you need to focus on your stuff. But it was a cool experience. To see him be back in Chicago was fun.
I feel like it's so important to have those in-person touch points with our clients. So much of what we do is online and we can be all over the world. But I feel like every time that we meet with some of our clients in person, it just changes everything.
I'm trying to remember who I was speaking to. I was speaking to a client recently about how much I hate my industry because of number one, how people the you're gonna hate me for what I'm gonna say, but like the culture of digital nomads in the marketing world have created this rift between in person touches and elements to business.
I think it's
Um
not just in marketing. I think it's in SaaS, software as a service, any sort of like online thing. And the thing is, I'm a digital nomad. I
mhm.
have been in the past. I love, 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 love traveling. However, I think that there's definitely an element of disconnect that
100%.
happens when you're long term. The most successful actual business owners that I know, or digital, like, even employees that are digital nomads, are the ones who spend part of their time, they're going back and they're intentionally spending time with their customers,
Mhm.
because that changes the game. But it becomes, I find, it was even those that understood. A lot of my clients when I was traveling thought I was on vacation and they didn't want to bother me. And I was like, no, actually, please bother me. I'm working. And they didn't think I was taking it seriously. No matter, I could be working 12-hour days, 14-hour days, but they saw that I was in Costa Rica or I was next to a waterfall or the beach, and they assumed that I wasn't working at all and I wasn't really caring about them. So that's also like there's a perception issue.
It's a 100% perception issue, and people are human beings. They drive connections, right? So they see waterfall, Jackson, playtime versus waterfall, great scenery for inspiration to get Jackson 12 hours of work. You
Yeah,
get what I
actually, and the funny
mean?
thing is I'm way more motivated. That's why sometimes I'll go, if it's a pretty day out and we've been slaving away in the office since like 7 o'clock in the morning, I will say, hey, I'm going to go work by the pool,
Exactly. I don't know if it's me because I'm getting old now. I'm about to be 33 this year.
Stop aging yourself. 33 is not old, but you're going to
Well,
be one of those people that's 50 and with a walker because you've been telling people you were old for 20 years.
well, what I'm trying to say is that with the new generation coming up in our field, right, in the marketing field, it's easier than ever to start your own little business. And it's
Hmm.
easier than ever to call yourself a guru nowadays with
Oh,
like social media. Like, hey, I made couple videos went viral. I'm an expert now.
yeah.
Pay me $1,000 and I come do a video for you. And then a lot of people, business owners, get burned. And
Hmm.
then those people that burn those business owners don't have like, excuse me the phrasing, don't have the balls to show up in face and talk to the client and say, hey, this is the strategy didn't play out. Then people like us that we've been in the business for like 50 years, we come in and we're like in person, we're talking to them like, okay, first of all, it's really hard to land the deal. Second of all, when they see the interaction, it's like they change to the full perspective of like what marketing can really do for their business.
Hmm.
And then in a reception, the first thing that people assume to cut is marketing, right? So
Oh, gosh, yes.
that's what I was trying to tell this client, that the level of transparency that we have here is very important to me as an individual because I've been in the other side where I've been burned by agencies, um, because people don't take it serious. They want a quick payout. They want a quick turnaround. They want to sell a service that should not be $1,000 for $1,000.
Or they sell these like big dreams and hopes with
False expectations for
false
sure.
expectations. And I see a lot of that. I think that's, it happens with websites, it happens with digital ads, it happens anything to do in the digital like social media realm, because you're right, it is so easy to just pop open something, and especially if you have a social media following or you have, you're articulate or well spoken, it's so easy to take advantage of business owners.
Hmm.
And the thing, we've talked about this, because like that doesn't foster a long-term
Not at
business
all.
partnership.
One of the coolest. So Valpo is Valpo, right? Valpo has a lot of small business owners popping up in downtown, the historic area, right?
How
And
big is Valparaiso?
population like 35, 40,000. Land pretty big.
It's a interesting little town because it's actually like, I feel like a lot of people from come if people are not familiar, like a lot, I didn't know anything about Valpo, but it's
The
Northwest
richest
Indiana.
the richest
It's
town in
Indiana
Indiana.
now. Okay, yeah. So it's a lot of, it's weird. It's like this tiny town, but like a lot of money, a lot of commerce, a lot of people who got successful in Chicago
Came
that didn't, want to live in Chicago anymore, and so they moved themselves and
because
their
they're a
businesses.
couple miles from the lake, so they can have their beach houses there. They can live in a very safe community. All the schools are maybe private schools, honestly, because they teach in kindergarten. Mello, my godson, he learned Spanish, English, and he's learning French. I'm like, bro, like this kid's like 4 years old and he's telling me bonjour. I'm like, what is going on here?
So cute. Yeah.
Yeah, so this education system's very well, but one of the beautiful thing is like the innovation of small businesses in the city is still there, right? So I met a new business owner. His shop is Lincoln Way, right across, or like right in the corner of the barbershop, and his name is Benjamin, if I remember correctly. And he opened a new coffee shop, and his competitors Fluid and the other competitors, but he had a Costa Rican coffee bean. Like I was like, my man. So I drink black coffee with no cream, no sugar. So you actually can taste the roast, right? It was a light roast, Costa Rican.
Did it taste like you were back on the beach of Costa Rica?
No, but it tasted like blueberries, infused coffee, fresh,
Are
delicious.
you developing a palate?
Maybe.
Are you next thing you know, you're gonna be like, there's notes of cinnamon and burgundy and blueberries.
It was a very delicious coffee, and you know how I drink Starbucks, and sometimes that coffee is just like,
yeah, not a fan.
Not a fan. But it reminded me of Costa Rica, and it was honestly a pleasure talking to this individual. And his business, he started in his college dorm room. He went to school for business, entrepreneur, kind of growing up. He started, he's on the path. So when I was introduced to him through Dan, and it was like kind of like the fun. Oh, you on the barbershop? Let's do a collab. I saw you did collabs, right? So it was a cool experience. But talking to him, and I was like, yo, yeah, I run the barbershop. I also run a marketing agency. I love your location, your shop. His concept of the shop is so dope. He had a whole bunch. It's like a little bookstore. And then inside the bookstore, he had the coffee shop. And then the whole theme was different book themes, right? He had Harry Potter's.
Wait. I bet I know where it is. Is it it's on Main Street, right?
It's on Main Street.
Okay, it opened last year because I was there still miserable in the winter and you were in Puerto Rico, just
it's
chilling.
Called the Station?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but I remember I was like, what? I walked by it and I was
it's right next to the pizzeria.
Yes, and it's so cute because me, bookstore, coffee, like could not be happier. So
yeah. So I was talking to him, he got burned. Right off, like almost a year and a half. I think a year and a half in business, he got burned by a marketing company already.
What happened?
He didn't go into too much detail, but he's like, "Yo, we don't really need it. Like, I'm opening my second location already." And then his business model is very interesting because he's not like doing fluid style where it's like another fluid's popping up like the sixth location of the same company. He's really making the coffee scene in each location based on the location aspect.
Super cool.
Exactly. So I was like, bro, that's very clever. I was like, that has to be hard because you're building 2-3 different brands at the same time. He's like, yes, but no. And I was like, tell me more. And he's like, pretty much like the way that the culture he's building in the particular cities or in the college campus, he's kind of embracing that brand and then just adding his own little flair to it.
He's taking inspiration. Instead of saying, this is what I want to be here because I want it to be here, he's saying, what does this community have to offer? What are they missing? How can I weave, my own business into that tapestry, which is rare. I feel like that's not a lot of businesses come in with that kind of intention.
And then guess the way he got burned.
How did he get burned?
SEO, Google, search.
SEO, yeah. I know it can and does work to an extent, but it also, I feel like, it's so funny because we're in that industry and I feel like we're not supposed to say that, but I think SEO is the biggest scam on the face of the earth. In terms of paying an agency for like ongoing SEO.
Services, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I think setting you up, that's one thing.
There's no like magic pill to getting on the top of Google. There are a bunch of things that you can do and you can make some adjustments, but
unless
Google's
you pay.
entirely unless you pay. Google just entirely changed their search algorithm. Like it's so different. So if you're hiring people, like chances are they are doing things that worked 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So
and back to like the point of the story, like he's like, hey, we're meeting our growth plans, we're meeting expectations. Like I'm not gonna take another chance. He's like, we don't need marketing. His business has zero marketing.
Yeah.
Just his marketing strategic local placement and word of mouth.
So my thing is that is the number one, like it can't be either or. You can't go to a marketing firm and don't do any of the grassroots, right? Or any of the organic. Cause then there's nothing I feel like what our role is to amplify what a business is already doing. And it's to get it out there to people that are your friends of friends, right? You know how it's like a second or third degree connection. And in all of these businesses, you're so much more likely to get business if, you get referred by a friend, right? If you tell me, hey, I went to this coffee shop and it's really great, I'm like, oh, cool, I'm going to go. But you're missing out on so many other second degree interactions. It kind of reminds me, okay, when you go on LinkedIn, now that you're kind of new to LinkedIn.
Hey, I got 200 people on connections. If you want to connect with me, help me grow.
Okay, so on LinkedIn, when you go to connect with somebody, if you connect with, say you weren't, so our consultant Andrew, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Say you went to connect with him and you hadn't connected with him yet, and I'm already connected. It'll say a first connection because it's a friend of a friend. So it's like, okay, I trust him because he's friends with Emma. But then there's actually another step further where you can connect with someone and they're 2 connections away. So it's like he's friends with, like, okay, so
I didn't know
it's
you
like
could do
he's
that.
friends with someone you're friends with. It's like a little bit of a, like another degree.
It's like a distant cousin.
Exactly. But
Okay.
you still find that connection back. Oh, they must still be in the general scheme of things. It builds trust, and community. Well, marketing does that because we can amplify voices and people and reviews and atmosphere to kind of show people what they may not see unless you're walking down the street or you happen to follow a friend on social media who posts about it or that kind of thing. If you think about it that way, it's much safer and doesn't feel so risky.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that a lot of companies view it that way.
One of my new sales meetings this week that I had, I was literally telling the person, I was like, what is your objective with this? Oh, I want to make X amount of money. I'm like, I love the approach of making money, but I think you need to just change your perspective a little bit. Because marketing is not going to guarantee a conversion for you. But marketing is going to get you the audience,
The exposure.
the exposure where you have the chance to convert those people. You can't expect like, hey, I'm going to spend X amount of dollars. I'm going to X amount of dollars back out.
Yeah.
There is certain type of formulas that we can predict with a certain degree of,
Accuracy, because we have a lot of data, but still.
But it's not guaranteed.
And I think what's hard is when you as a business owner put so much time and effort into an offer or a service or whatever, and then when you put it out there, the harsh reality is the public may or may not resonate with it.
Mm-hmm.
And marketing just tells you that faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you open a restaurant, right, and you have bad service or the food is just missing the mark or it's not as clean as it needs to be, whatever it may be, right? Maybe it's phenomenal, but the prices are way too high for the area.
Or the leadership of the business.
It could take 6 months, and the business will eventually, really start to suffer because the word will get out. But with you running a marketing campaign, you're going to know that way sooner because you're reaching all these people. So, I think that's a good thing because why would you waste all the resources and money for months of operating to figure out something?
Emma, I would say it goes back to perspective. It goes back to the leadership and the leadership perspective. If the person is going in with a closed mindset of like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to take any outside help, they're not going to change.
Mm-hmm.
If the leadership say, hey, I'm getting all this feedback from my consumers, from my leadership team, from my people, my circle, I'm going to take the advice and make the necessary shift so I can make sure we're on track.
Those are my favorite kind of clients. When they have people on board in different kinds of areas and they listen to them. And that's hard. But that's why I've noticed that the most successful business owners we work with this is not their first business. That they have started 1 or 2 other businesses in the past. And usually they have a failure story at some point. And it's like, oh, they learned what not to do. And now they're on to learning what to do.
That's funny you said that because I feel like I'm doing that right now. Like, I'm selling a property. I'm trying to like assess where the funds are going to go. And then I'm also like learning back my experiences. I'm like, okay, if I put the money here, this is how it's going to play out. If I do this, it's going to play out. So I think it's a degree of like maturity or wisdom. I don't know.
Well, I was telling when we were with Vanessa the other day, I said I get why people are serial entrepreneurs because it's like a Rubik's Cube, okay? And you figure, and the first time you're going through it, every single thing you try is so wrong. And it just doesn't fit, and it's not right, and it's so frustrating, but then you get something. And then it's addicting. And you're like, wait a second, I figured out this puzzle. I want to do it again because I think I can figure it out faster. And there's always new elements and it's always different, but it does get easier and better. Like all of the ways that I was doing everything 5 years ago could not be more different from what we're doing now. And it took and I remember when I first started working with you, you have, I would say probably like 6 or 8 years of experience on me in the workforce.
Yeah.
And you said something that really stuck with me. You were like, the benefit of working with someone else is that what may have taken me years to learn, I can now teach you if you're willing to listen. And you don't have to go through all of those years. So we shortened our time span, and I think that's why we were able to achieve the growth that we did with the Idea Farm so fast. Whereas if I had been on my own, it would have taken me probably another like decade.
Yeah, no, honestly. That's why, like, my hats off to consultants, bro. Like, consultants, they have to have the patience to really kind of like sit with the clients and say, "Hey, please take my advice. Hey, I know you're paying me, but please take my advice," and kind of like persuade the client to really trust them, and then okay, enact.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, there's like you said, there's clients that even they will pay a consultant, they're like,
And they won't listen.
don't listen to the consultant. Um, no, but I think overall the Chicago trip taught me two major things. Number one, it felt great to see our clients again. I think I saw a total of like six, seven clients
Mm-hmm.
in the whole trip. You know what I'm saying? I try to take as much pictures as I can with the ones we have for Natalia. Um, but just like Kentucky, when we went to Kentucky, the belief that one, it was a surprise visit. Two, like, oh crap, you actually
You
came.
actually came out. They know it is wild because I did the same thing in Kentucky in April. It was like going and seeing all of these different clients. And some of them we've been working with for months and we'd never met in person because of how our schedules had aligned.
Mhm.
And it was just like, wow, huh. And they had worked with so many different kinds of businesses before and had never had anyone come out in person before. And I heard that over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think the first step in building consumer trust within this industry, the marketing industry, if I think if we want to make a positive change in this industry, especially with all the new kids starting up businesses, so they're already, oh, like, oh, we got this AI that we can help you run ads for like $200 a month, but really there's some guy in Philippines making the ads for them. It's literally straight up to the business, shake hands, go back to like 1990s business tactics,
Building community.
building
And I
community.
think the right way to do it is to take the modern technology that we have access to that allows us to do so much from anywhere, but mirror that with community because humans haven't changed. Our needs haven't changed. We want to be listened to and cared about and understood.
Was I talking to you that told me that, or was I talking to somebody else that told me that?
I don't know. Could be someone else.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm having deja vu. I had a conversation with somebody that says, at the core, human beings haven't changed. You know what I'm saying? You could be my mom. I was talking to my mom about that.
Your mom is a smart lady.
Yeah, we're talking about the church, right? But at the core, it's like, yeah, you could be as isolated as you want. You can live your life, but there's always gonna be that little element that you need to socialize with somebody. And my mom was saying the church is sometimes for some people that act of socialization.
It is.
For me, the act of socialization is work. I love coming to the office, seeing any of you guys. Sometimes we fight, sometimes we cry, sometimes we're laughing. You know what I'm saying? But that act of this is like my area, this is my arena, right? This is where we make the deals, where we make the champs, whatever. And then when I go home, I'm like you. I need my space time and my quiet time. Like, don't bug me. I just want to decompress and just be in my little ball of isolation. Um, so you're 100% on point with that.
Mm-hmm.
Human beings need that sense of connection and community.
And I think if we can continue to deliver that while we scale, because I think that's often what's lost. So maybe if you're working with a small business, you know how we were talking with that business that they wanted to keep their POS, their payment processor company, even though the rates were
e-commerce store?
higher. Yeah, they
Yeah,
were
okay.
e-commerce store. They wanted to keep the people they were working with. The rates were higher, right? But they didn't care about that. They cared about the relationship. They cared about the fact that they could call them, that they could have a meeting with them in person. So I feel like as we are able to scale, bringing the professionalism, the staff, the support, the resources that come with scaling, but keeping the personalization, I think that's going to be key.
No, I was talking to Miguel from Florida, our business developer out there, and he's like, you don't understand how it means for a CEO of a Texas company come see some of these smaller business owners, like the Butter guy or the 360 guy,
Mm-hmm.
because they've been burned. Both of these companies been burned by marketing agencies, and the fact that we're willing to go out there just to meet them and just like, you're something's in your eye. What's going on?
My eyes twitching. Keep going.
It's very important for them. You know what I'm saying? Emma's over here like, I was like, what's going on? Am I saying something wrong?
My eyes just wigging out. No, but I think you're right. So let's keep it up and let's hopefully encourage other people to do the same.
Yeah, positive change in the marketing industry. Go visit your clients.
Yeah. Well, thanks, guys. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. If you like this new format and content, please drop us a follow and share with your family.
Until next time.
Thanks.